At the end of this video, I'll do trip summary, average MPGs, the travel distance, and also expenses. Expenses for overall trip and just return trip through US. I'm very curious how much on fuel I'm gonna spend. Well, the snow has melted from last night. Sun actually coming out like just this morning, actually, even when I peeked in the window. Just like an hour ago, there is still snow in these bushes, but it already has melted. Pretty cool. I like all this vapor mist. Totally didn't expect to catch Californian snow. That's part of the reason why I didn't take more scenic route, which would be, well, at least according to Google, almost same time as I-5, which would be going through eastern side of Cascades, on Californian side, like through Carson City, Reno, eventually coming up in Boise, Idaho, and then moving through Washington or Oregon and Washington back home. I'm like, nah, the roads are twisty, probably gonna be going through mountains everywhere. It's gonna be snow and so on, like Mammoth Lake area with hot springs. I was like, maybe I could camp out at one of the hot springs, like I did on last year's trip, 36-day Overland. But then, when I still had connection in Mexico, I kind of googled one of the springs and I saw pictures of a woman sitting in the winter, everything covered in snow, and she's just in a hot spring. I'm like, well, I am in the winter right now, so basically it means it's snow everywhere over there. It's like, nah, I'll stick to I-5, closer to the coast, everything melts. But no, still got it. Well, I'm not really at I-5 yet. I mentioned last night that I'm gonna crank body heater. I forgot that just beginning of the trip, body heater doesn't work anymore for me. So, but butane worked fine. And waking up was fine. Today I was very cozy, very warm. Well, I tried this setup last winter, as in this -15 sleeping bag, winter camping. Yeah, everything was fine. So just now, woke up, cranked the butane stove. Heat it up to maybe like 13 Celsius. I'm like, oh, okay, decent to get up. Did some coffee. Oh yeah, solar panels. I just checked, cranking 2.8 amps. Even though it's, you know, kind of winterish here, but that's because of almost 3 amps even. I saw it kind of jump to 3 amp and this like went down. That's because of elevation, 6,000 feet. So closer to the sky you are, the better it is for solar panels, even if it's like gonna be cloudy, just like I was saying. This summer up in the mountains in BC, I was camping and it was full rain, like full heavy rain, clouds. I was still getting 1 amp and I only had 1 solar panel. Alright, back on the main road. Time to get out of here. I'm gonna try to end up in let's see, north of Medford today somehow, and maybe meet Josh in the evening, the Team Overland guy. Let's talk Baja expenses. My expenses were obviously high. First of all, my truck is not exactly fuel efficient, 1500 loaded. Also, this trip I did stay in restaurants quite a bit. I would say even more than last trip. I just decided, you know what, I'm in Mexico, whatever. I'm just, even though I have very local produce from grocery store or like cans and so on, may as well just eat restaurants. But talking to a bunch of people that I met on the road from all kinds of budgets, not RV guys, but overland type guys with truck campers or vans or whatever, people that doing beyond 1 month trip, maybe like 3 months, half a year, 8 months. I met a couple, talking to another couple who are, I think, for 3 months right now in Baja, getting a taste of expenses, living like this on the road full time, before next year proceeding to Panama. So they're actually curious, like they're researching, well, what does it really cost to do this kind of overland living online, like browsing some blogs and so on, which kind of helped them get an idea. They just hit pension, sold their house. That money went toward that XP camper that was couple at when I showed in Aqua Verde. Upgraded his truck, bought a dually, converted it to not dually. I think that's because I don't know, he wanted probably like bigger gears or something. So anyway, so they said, well, they worked all their life in States, and their social security about 1,500, I think, per person. So that makes up $3,000 pretty much. We estimated, so let's, and that's besides like RSPs or whatever in US extra savings are called, extra like private pension fund. Maybe it's like 401k or something. Anyway, so they estimated about $3,000 it would take them. But again, if you're not doing fast pace, if you're not trying to squeeze a bunch of distances in 1 month, like me, then what could be happening is you could be staying in different locations for like a whole week almost. What it means is you only spend that gas, like let's say fill up gas tank, let's say 120, let's say 100 American bucks for a tank. You only do it once a week. You buy some produce. Okay, well, for a week, 2 people, like if you're smart about it in Mexico, could be 50 bucks easily. Really, just 50 bucks. So then you're in some secluded beach possibly, and it may not be just Baja, right? Like you could find all these kind of secluded free spots, high overlander spots all over the globe, all over Central America, South America. It's just cluttered with people traveling and indicated spots. So you basically not paying accommodations. Let's say you don't, well, back home you don't have mortgage, you don't have rent to pay, you don't have anything, right? You just cut your routes, put maybe things in storage or whatever. So now the only expense is, let's say, a week, $100 tank. So let's say a month, let's say you relocate every week somewhere. So that's and don't push distances, like it could be a relocation even to a neighboring spot could take you half a tank, really, if you're taking it easy, maybe even less. Depends on distance and your consumption. So then food, let's say $50 a week, let's say something like that, let's say even $100 a week. So for $100 there, let's say gas, for $100 there, so we're set aside every month money for occasional repairs. So let's say you set aside $100, something like this, $200. Anyway, so now that comes to 1,000 American bucks. You can totally live on in Baja. That's why those guys that estimated $3,000 a month, they're like, whoa, that's really not even close taking us right now. We're chilling, we've been chilling at this spot for like 2 weeks, and plus many of those free spots, secluded spots, they have seafood together, like possibly you can do fishing, right? So that's right away you're saving money on produce. You can do some climbing, oyster gathering, all kinds of things. That's money you're not paying for groceries, and having delicious food from the ocean or whatever it be, rivers. So they're like, wow, at this rate We may not even, because they thought they would be needing to, for Panama and stuff, deep into their retirement savings, besides the social security. And they're like, no, at this rate, just 2 of our social securities, $3,000 is more than enough. Live like kings, pretty much, traveling out of vehicle. Sometimes if you're tired, and I think that's what they wanted to do, to try, is maybe like rent a little house in a small village or something. That's for like a couple of weeks or maybe a month, because small villages, small towns, it's only gonna cost a couple $100, $300 maybe, sure. If you want for a month, sort of that break, feel like home, proper beds and so on. But then again, in those pop-up campers and so on, they are proper beds, queen sizes, king sizes, whatever. But you know, like if you want more space. So those guys, yeah, were pleasantly surprised at, yes, they had big initial investment in their vehicle to make it very capable, off-roady, comfortable. XP campers cost a lot. They bought used because they got into lineup for XP campers, and apparently their wait time, they were told, is a year and a half. It's very high in demand. So they're like, no, we're not gonna wait this long, we wanna go now. So they found a used one, but so the new, I think they said American, 75,000, their version. They found one for 65,000, which is, you know, maybe because they sold their stuff and so on. But you could be in a 4-wheel camper, half the price, not even half the price. It's like 30,000 Canadian, like 25,000 American. You could have 4-wheel camper. Yes, they're not as luxurious inside and so on, but they're built for, like, you know, take the punch off-road, all the shakes constantly. Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to share that bit with those people, because I wanted in the morning to run, do a rig walk around of that XP camper, but they were sleeping, we didn't come out, and I needed to leave, so I didn't even get to say goodbye. But I had a previous day quite a bit of a talk with them just about things. Let's actually talk tires. I saw Ronnie Daffel video yesterday, that first little Siri talk show thing he set up, and they touched up on tires, how they're not, like, we were talking about which kind of things for overlanding, off-roading, 4-wheeling, whatever you want to call it, which things expensive versus cheap, where you can save up, on which things you don't. Both of them are like, oh, tires, no, never save up on tires. Very good quality, expensive tires. And completely, yes, that's something I was gonna comment on, part of this return. I just want to confirm, yes, absolutely. Tires in this, if you're doing this, tires is everything. It's the most important upgrade on your vehicle that you can have. It's the most important. It's not even suspensions, it's none of that. It's all-terrain or mud tires, good quality. Also, right rating for your vehicle, for your overloaded likely vehicle or very loaded, and something that has at least 6 plies, maybe 8 or 10, but with amount of increased plies or strength of tire, of course comes weight and the size of the tire, right? So let's say you have 37s, 10 ply, that's a crap ton of weight for your vehicle to spin all the time. And well, my tires right now are not 10 ply, they're 6 ply. I think, yeah, 6 ply Ridge Grapplers, 37 inch on 17 rim. If you're on 20-inch rim, truck, overlanding, whatever, well, you should stop. I don't even know how you are, like you basically can't really even deflate really 20 like tires on 20-inch rim to be any sort of safe. You may as well switch to 16, 17, something along the lines. Plus, if you're gonna travel around the world, take your rig around the world, finding big rims out there is very, very hard in small villages, towns, third world countries. 17, 16 inch rims, maybe 18 are more accessible. 20, 21, good luck with 22. You're just not gonna find that kind of stuff outside of US and Canada. Not really, unless you're like very big city, and who knows how much that's gonna cost you. I would say for my setup, it's kind of a mistake as far as tire size, and not. The truck is definitely stressed out, right? It's heavy and it's on 37 inch tires. Like, it's still, like, I press, unless on hills, but on lowlands and not taking off, I press gas, like I still go, right? Like it's a V8 5.7 engine. You know, maybe my gear ratio is not exactly designed for towing, for heavy pulling, like I'm pulling, but yeah, I lack on torque. That's okay. I know that, and I don't do things that can compromise the integrity of my gearing, of my transmission, right? I don't do drag racing with this kind of weight and this kind of tires. Like don't do stupid stuff basically, and you'll be fine. The camera, even without tripod, is a little heavier. Oh, my right hand got tired. Okay, so 37 inch tires that I have. Well, I kind of want to switch to 35s, because realistically, if you're overlanding, like really, especially if you're full-time overlanding, you're not gonna do any real rock crawling. You're not gonna do Utah stuff. Like, are you kidding me? You're gonna take like 4 or 5 tons of weight and who knows how much more, doing things like metal masher and stuff like that I've done last year. Hell no. Yeah, like, you can, your vehicle probably capable of doing that, but the chances of busting something are extremely high. And you know, if you're full-time in overlanding, you have strict budget, you can't afford doing stupid stuff like that. And you're probably gonna choose safer trails. You're not gonna do hard stuff if you're smart. Otherwise, you're just gonna have a never-ending string of repairs. And if you have money to throw at constant repairs, then fine, do that. But many people don't have tons of money to throw at repairs, so then you avoid those things. And really, for any kind of light, medium stuff, even if I'm on a long wheelbase, that's crew cab, standard track bed, you don't need 37 inch tires. Like, obviously for longer wheelbase, tire size does matter, right? Because sure, you can have a lift, suspension lift, but your axles are still kind of low, so the only way to raise your axles is tire size. Plus, keep in mind, once you're in the off-road or whatever, in the sand, you're deflating your tires. So let's say you have 35 inch tires, in reality, once deflated, right, you're probably riding 33 inch tires, 31 even inch tires, depends how low you went. It is nice to have big tires, but again, it's fuel consumption, it depends on your weight and what your vehicle can do. It's just too much stress on the vehicle. Unless you're doing like rock crawling, whatever, not actually really overlanding, not living out of your vehicle, then yeah, it's great to go for it, right? Your vehicle is probably light and okay to do rock crawling. Otherwise, 35 for any vehicle, I would say any vehicle, 35 is more than enough. Now the problem is I'm invested, right? Already in my whole setup is around 37s. I just got 2 brand new tires before the trip. 37s, my 2 rears gonna need the change. Looking at their wear after this trip, it's actually not bad. I'm probably gonna be able to squeeze them all the way till summer, the usage out of them. Possibly maybe even through summer, but it's gonna be, you know, the protector is gonna be very thin, so there's more chances for punctures and all that, and skidding on ice and so on. But this got me thinking, right? Like, so I need 2 tires. Maybe now is the time to switch, or whenever I need to switch, actually switch. Sell the front 37s. Yeah, obviously they're not new. They put like 10k on them pretty much for this trip, but still can sell. Like they're in good shape. I checked, it's all good. My tires are now all aligned, so it's great. And then maybe switch to 35s, but I would need to sell the rear as well, because basically now I would need 5 tires. But also its price. It's gonna be much cheaper to buy constantly 35-inch tires than 37-inch tires. Also, if you're on 17, 16, 18-inch rim, tires cost much less money than on 20, 22-inch rims. Much less. So you're gonna be saving all together. So save on gas, save on longevity of your vehicle, not stressing too much, and on buying, switching tires all the time. I think I'm gonna do 35s, yeah, come around summertime. Of course, I'm gonna lose a little bit of that beefier look with my truck, right? Because 37s do look nice, but you know, I want things to be more practical and less about the looks. It's not a SEMA truck. It's 3:30. Contacted Josh from Team Overland. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna camp out south of Oregon. Probably near Mount Shasta again, and then tomorrow sometime in the morning gonna be passing through Medford. And he replied like, hey, there's a snowstorm going on in that whole pass connecting I-5 California to Oregon, and actually a whole warning for like all the Cascades, also Washington connecting to Oregon, all of those passes, everything. And he's like, yeah, they may even close I-5. I'm like, no way, they can't do it. It's like Lifeline. He's like, no, they do it all the time. He's like, just this summer they closed it for like 2 weeks or something. I'm like, wow. So potentially I may, well, it's good to know. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna meet him at this point. Maybe, and I have limited connection. I just use Starbucks to actually download my lost offline regions, Google regions for Northern California and Oregon, because I'll need that to look for spots, to see map in Overlander, all that. And yeah, I may take Highway 97, kind of do like a curve around, and somewhere in Bend in Oregon, kind of get into like Portland. So basically I need to buffer this BS for tomorrow ride. Likely whatever my sleep will be today is probably gonna be snowy again and cold. Problem is I don't have on-the-go connection. I don't have a USSD card, so when I get closer to Oregon border, hopefully there's Starbucks, McDonald's, something, so I can use internet. Otherwise I got no connection, so I can check on what the conditions are, or if I-5 is closed, or what the hell. Sucks. Wow, that was intense 4-hour driving just now. Going through Sacramento, south of Sacramento, up to Redding. I'm still not ready yet at Redding, but past 4 hours, huge winds, like huge. It's just battling to stay on the road, like all the tracks shaking, huge wind. And yeah, there is weather warning advice was for the area, like huge trees going like this. So yeah, when it's a lifted truck and stuff on the roof, it's definitely had to slow down, had to drive slower, just to have more control. So that was intense. It's like hands glued to the wheel, can't really relax, like can't even pick at Parks and Recreation, just listening. Well, kinda, not really, right? Like focused on the road. So that's that. Oh, super cold here, Mount Shasta. Not sure if you can see right there. This is becoming my favorite transitional place in Northern California. This particular area. Waking up was cold. It was like 5 Celsius inside. But you know, a little butane stove, cracking up, half an hour while drinking coffee, and it's like boom, nice 18 Celsius. Started watching Glow from Netflix. It's not a bad series actually. But outside now, as soon as I get out from all this heat, it's just like, oh. Okay, well, time to proceed further.
Sisters of the Moon, rejoice.
It certainly is a beautiful mountain. But last year, both on the way to Mexico and coming back from Mexico, I didn't catch any snow anywhere. It was still kind of pleasant to return. Oh, like there was cold temperature, just maybe not as cold as right now, maybe a few Celsius higher. No snow, so yeah, totally coming back to winter. Oh, I'm so feeling it. It sucks. Like I complained about cold days in Baja, especially living in San Felipe, or last days in Agua Verde. I mean, to some 0 Celsius right now is still not cold, but to me it's cold. I'm not that kind of Russian. I hate it. I just want to go back already to Baja again. Now, pretty much. If I only had time. This sucks. Coming back to winter, all that snow in Vancouver, it's all that rain, forever rain. I'm gonna start hitting that rain all the way in Washington, pretty much approaching Seattle. Check out this view. Very low clouds, awesome. But yeah, the road, the whole drive yesterday was very intense. A lot of like 2 last hours, all mountainous road, probably black ice, barely any traffic, but still gotta go a little slowish. Anyway, let's keep going. More first updates on Baja. So, safety, absolutely safe. Don't worry, you can go solo, you can do whatever. It's as safe as it can be. It's probably safer than most of big US cities. It's probably safer than Hastings in Vancouver, Hastings area. It's fine. Like, I know online you go on different forums and so on when it's like you plan this first big trip and there's a bunch of these naysayers like, oh, you gotta be careful, you gotta be vigilant and whatever. And you generally do, right? Like traveling anywhere, even like Western Europe, whatever, there's pickpocketers, you know, like people steal stuff, sure. But after being there second time, my conclusion is, and driving at night, all the way till like 10, 11, it's fine. Because I remember some people on Baja Nomads or somewhere were saying it's like 2 camps, right? Some people say it's absolutely safe, some oh no, you gotta be careful because they probably heard the story or whatever, or maybe something did happen to them. But the chances of something happening to you in there are probably less than like being hit by lightning or something. People are friendly, everything's good, flashy vehicle is fine. Actually, the flashier you are, you know, the strategy, the less likely you're gonna be touched because you're flashy. No one wants to deal with flashy, attract attention. So go ahead, don't listen to naysayers. It's beautiful, it's awesome, and it's safe. So Baja North, Central, or South? What's better for what? On the western coast, right after Ensenada until San Quintin, there's nothing really to do, so scratch that. So we take into account San Felipe, really, on the other side and down. I would say it's okay, but winter is cold. Now, somewhere from around Gonzaga Bay, all the way down to Agua Verde, which would be South Baja. This whole area is starting to become kind of like central area, and that's where all the beauty is. That's where most of road is, most trails, most secluded beaches, like actually secluded, actually away from big cities like La Paz and Los Cabos, all that stuff. And that's where you want to be. And actually, just based on what I've seen, seems like more northern part of central Baja, part of that forest, Vizcainito or something like that, That's where the fishing is, like gathering clams, oysters, all that stuff, like lots of spots like this. It's awesome. Another area, well, I only touched it, but I'm pretty sure it reflects the whole region like this, is Punta Briejo, right? That little sort of peninsula within peninsula on Pacific side. That, according to my map, even though there's not a whole lot of overlander spots on that territory, looking at satellite images, there's tons of little paths, little roads. You can find yourself, your own private little beach. And whenever I'm gonna be next time in Baja, years from now, I'll definitely explore that area more. There's lots of sandy beaches, but as you arrive at the tip, looking at satellite images, it's going to be all rocky cliffs, so I assume lots of mussel gathering, all that kind of stuff, probably good fishing. And then up to, let's say, actually no, up to La Paz, kind of, there's lots of trails, still lots of detours on both sides. For wild kind of camping grounds, at most a little fishing, fisher luncheon kind of boat places, sort of in territory. So that's the place you want to be at, is that sort of central Baja. As soon as you go to La Paz and down, it's too crowded, it's too much civilization, it's all fished out, it's not the same. It just feels like any other tourist region in Mexico. You know, you can take Manzanillo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, whatever, Upper Coast, Tulum, and so on. Just not the same anymore. It doesn't feel like you're getting out there in a wilderness anymore. So stick around to that sort of middle portion. You'll like it the most. Oh man, arrived home. Got held up at the border. I'm not sure for how long. I kind of dozed off, or dazed off, or whatever you call it. At least an hour. So this time, last year they didn't search me. This year they did. Well, he didn't check roof pod, but checked everything else. And yeah, I got nothing to hide. It's whatever I declared, but yeah, it sucks. So much for a hot bath. Well, it's 12:30. I think I'm still gonna have hot bath. It's just neighbors, right? Like pour water, it's gonna make noise. But screw them. I deserve a bath and cold beer. And pet my fluff balls, my ferrets. Hopefully they're still alive there. My sister was supposed to come every 3-4 days to kind of refill food, water. And they're out of a cage, just kind of roam around the apartment. Alright, trip summary and all that I'll have to do tomorrow. Alright guys, let's do trip totals. So the distance traveled, almost 10k. So I guess last year was more like 9k-ish. Average, as you can see, 19 liters. Yeah, so, and now let's see in US. Okay, so almost 6,000 miles, MPGs 11.8. From now on, I'm just gonna limit my driving to 5th gear, and that's it. This way it doesn't go into overdrive, into other gears, and less chances for my transmission, especially on hills, to pull all my weight up. Now let's do the spending totals. So I kind of logged pretty much everything on the trip, as you can see. Kind of broken down to restaurants, cigarettes, beer, gas, and camping, and grocery miscellaneous. So overall total, here's the total. So I weighted myself before the trip. I was 8,500 pounds. That's 5.7 liter Hemi. From Vancouver all the way to Cabo San Lucas and all the cruise in between. So from Vancouver to Mexican border, or rather from Mexican border to Vancouver, it only took 481 bucks. All of these prices are in Canadian dollars. So overall total gas is to 2,500 almost. Total groceries, yeah, 325. Fast food, little stops, restaurants, all that kind of stuff. expensive restaurants in Mexico and some not so expensive. Yeah, $300, beers not so much, cigarettes definitely my big hitter, and that's considering Mexican cigarettes very cheap, so I smoked a lot. Camping, most of this really is US, because we stayed at Monterey in the beginning because of the glitch in the system, and yeah, that's pretty much kind of it. And last night in San Felipe I spent $25 US. So car repair maintenance, so that's really the dealership fee for check and diagnostics, and also tire carrier combined the problem. So $40 I had left over overall. Yeah, so it came to be $4,000 Canadian or $3,000 US. This pretty much concludes the series. I was actually thinking driving back to possibly start looking into what should be my next vehicle. It's not gonna be soon, it's gonna be years from now, but I need to do that research to figure out what it is that I need for possibly full-time living out of vehicle. Not necessarily maybe still working at my job, but moving into vehicle and start living out of it. So I need to figure out what I can and can't live without, and I thought I would start a series on that. I'm probably gonna last through the next 2-3 years, kind of like here and there some bits of information, research that I do, maybe useful for you guys as well as you contemplate or pros and cons of every possible setup, of needs versus wants, that kind of thing. Yeah, so stick around and check out our trip videos, and basically that's it. It's been fun. It's been fun filming it this time with much better camera. So see you guys next series. Hey comrades, don't forget to hit that like button and also leave a comment, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you should by hitting that subscription button and also bell notification next to it, so you can actually get my video updates both in notification in your video feed, and as well you can support this channel if you like my videos through PayPal or Patreon in the links down below or just after this video.